ask you to put this in scientific notation. What is this big number in scientific notation?
8.27 times 10 to the
Get all these zeros, right? Times 10 to the what?
14.
Very good. Is it positive or negative 14? Positive. Remember, anytime you move the decimal to the left, it's always positive, okay? So you have a whole lot of significant figures. They're saying, now give me that number to only one significant figure. So how can you reduce that? Excellent. 8 times 10 to the 14th power. Now careful, half a point got lost a lot of times because what did we miss? The unit. PS is picoseconds. So remember, the imaginary decimal is at the end. You have to move it until after the 8. That first number needs to be anywhere between 1 but less than 10, and 8 is within that range of 1 to 10. So one significant figure, perfect. How about two significant figures?
8.3.
Okay.
8.3.
Excellent. You're catching yourself. These are my first two significant figures, but there's a 7, so I need to round it to a 3. Very good. How about three significant figures? Excellent. How about four significant figures? And then last but not least, what about five significant figures?
12.
Alright, so hopefully you can see the pattern here. The scientific notation is the key. Once you need to know how to do that, you just counted your significant figures and you plug them in. Just be careful with rounding. Sometimes you have to round. So if you lost coins, hopefully it was over you missing picoseconds, the unit. Some of you started messing with the exponents. The exponents remain the same, so you remain at that 827 trillion or whatever that big old number is. Okay, you don't ever mess with the exponent. Then the next problem was a very small one. What is that number in scientific notation? Where do I need to move the decimal to? To the right, how far?
3 places.
Until after the 3, because the number in front of the decimal can equal 1. It can be bigger than 1, but it has to be smaller than 10. So what is my scientific notation? 3? Yep. Excellent. Once you get this far, the rest should be a piece of cake. I got my scientific notation, but they're saying this is great, but I really don't care about all these numbers. I just want one significant figure. So what would it be?
3 times 2.
Perfect. What about two significant figures?
3.6.
Why are y'all saying 2? It says 1 right here. It has a 9. So if I only want two significant figures, the 9 makes it a 2. Good. How about three significant figures? Perfect. All right, looking at this now, do you see what you did wrong? If you've missed anything? Units is a big reminder for most of you. And then if you got your scientific notation, you're okay. All right, then the next ones, you had to round to three significant figures. So these problems, you were asked to round to three significant figures, and you had to put them in scientific notation. What is 16.8477 liters in scientific notation?
1.64777.
Times 10 to the what? I'm moving the decimal one time to the left. Anytime I move my decimal to the left, it's a positive exponent. All right, how many significant figures do I have now? 6. But they told me the directions I can only have 3. How can you reduce that to 3? All right, there we are. So my answer is, I'm just going to make it prettier, 1.68 times 10 to the first power liters. Very good. B, you have 5.6732 grams. So how can I reduce that to scientific notation? It is. The number in front of the decimal is already less than 10, Dalton says, and he's right. So you just leave it. But I can only have 3 significant figures. How many do I have right now? 5. So how can I reduce it to 3? 6, 7, what?
Times 10 to
G.
oh, G.
Some of you did times 10 to the 0, and I didn't count off. I just marked it out and said, you don't write that. You don't write 5.67 times 10 to the 0 kilograms, because that means this is 0. You just do 5.67. I know what you were indicating. I know you were desperately trying to put it in scientific notation, but you just leave it like that. All right, how about 0.14986 liters? How do I get that into scientific notation?
Move it to the left. Right,
Left or
which
right?
way?
To the right. How many
Left.
times?
Four.
So what does it become? Times 10 to the what? -1, right? You move the decimal one time to the right. And how many significant figures do I have now?
What?
How many significant figures do I have now? I got 5. So, Kadeja, I can only have 3, so how can I reduce that to 3 significant figures? Excellent. So she's saying because of that 8, we got to round up. So the 8 is going to make the 9 a 10. And then that 1 we got to add to the 4. So, so you got 1.50 times 10 to the -1. Excellent. Some of you wrote 1.49. And the reason you didn't get full credit is because you didn't round. So that's an easy fix. You just have to remember if it's 5 or higher, we got to round. All right, 861.85 grams. What is that in scientific notation?
8.6.
Positive or negative? Positive. All right, so now Lachey, how can you reduce that to 3 significant figures?
8.62.
Yep, you got it. Good job. All right, then, Rachel, I got 4.203 times 10 to the 4th kilometers. What would that be in scientific notation? It's already in scientific notation, right? You just read the problem back to me, okay? Very good. So, Caitlin, I can only have 3 significant figures, so how can I reduce that to 3 significant figures?
4.20 times 10 to the 4.
Yep, and make sure you get your units this time as kilometers. Why is she saying it should remain a 0? There's a 3.
Because you're not supposed to, if it's above 5 or above, you don't, you round. If it's below 4, you don't.
Excellent. So now Shay said only if it's 5 or above, I have to worry about rounding. All right, what about F? I got 5.0981 times 10 to the -3. So Gracie, what is that in scientific notation? Duh, it's already in scientific notation, Miss Powers. Get with it. All right, Chloe, how can you reduce that to 3 significant figures? Times 10 to the -3 millimeters. All right, same thing here. The 8 makes the 9 a 10 essentially, so you get 5.10 times 10 to the -3 millimeters. All right, there are 2 more problems I couldn't fit here, so let me just move on real quick right here. This one is 0.003185756 centimeters. Cambry, what is that in scientific notation? Negative what? Excellent. All right, now, Connor, how can you reduce that to 3 significant figures?
3.18. Oh wait, 3.19.
Yep. 3.19 times 10 to the -3. All right, and the last one on these right here that you had to do was 0.090250011 kilograms. Dalton Tanner, what is that in scientific notation?
It's in scientific.
This is in scientific notation? Where does my decimal need to go?
Before the 9 or after the 9?
After the 9. So what does it become?
9.0250 to the -2nd. So
Yep. Make sure you get your kilograms. All right, Sam. I currently have how many significant figures?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right, but I can only have 3, so what do we need to do?
9.03 times 10 to the
Very good. All right, guys, thank you very much. You can stop if you want to.